Hey everyone, welcome back to another build. For this build, I was using a tree cookie that was actually a pine tree cookie. This tree cookie was very figured, and it was gonna look pretty cool. I never seen a tree grow like this. I guess pines kind of grow kind of wonky sometimes, but never this much waves and stuff. But the big problem was it wasn't very flat at all, and it was going to be tough going cross grain like that with my little Makita hand planer, electric planer. So I decided to use my router sled. The router sled I love to use. I built it myself, but the tricky thing is getting it set up. It takes a long time to get set up, just with positioning everything, all the little boards under it, making sure everything's level and everything's good, right? But when you do get it to work and positioned all right, it makes a very flat. It's quite nice. But so the router sled was probably the best way to go. I do not have a plunge router, but I just have a little regular router, although it isn't the best. I've heard plunge routers are a lot better, but that's just what I have. Then after that, I just started sanding it. I did, as you've seen, clean up some edges with the Makita hand planer, but that wasn't taking off very much at a time. Because with the router sled, I had to take off probably about a ½ inch to make it flat, and with the Makita hand planer, that would have been a lot. To sand this, all I used was a little orbital sander, but then for the base, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've never made a base like this. It was going to be a pedestal base. So, yeah, basically a big pedestal. But later on, I would know that this would be a mistake, making it a pedestal leg design. This design actually was pretty easy to make. All I made was some just 1x4s out of some wind fence slabs sort of stuff, and just clean it up a lot with my joiner and stuff like that. But then I was going to make this. The reason I wanted to do this pedestal legs was because I just got a brad nailer at this time, and I really wanted to try to test out this new brad nailer, this new tool. So that was the main reason I wanted to do it like this. And this was something that was, small enough, thin enough boards that it would just be brad nailer and glue up, which the brad nailer actually did, work really well. And I was able to whip these legs up in like 20 minutes maybe. So that was nice. But as you can see, also one of the big problems I also ran into during this time was I was trying to revive my glue. My glue, I left it outside and it was freezing at night. It froze, and unfortunately, this type of glue, it was Almer's wood brand. It did not work out quite like it didn't. I thought you could maybe get away with. I didn't mean to leave it outside, but I thought maybe you could get away with it freezing once or twice, and because I've worked with Lee Page glue before, and that's how it works. If it freezes, you just unthaw it and it works fine, But that was not the case with Almer's glue. I tried adding stuff to it, and but yeah, it did not work out. Then for the the to finish the pedestal, I just put a couple pieces of plywood on the edges and just on the ends of that little cube thing, rectangle box thing that I made, And then after that, I just continued working on this tree cookie, which took a lot of chiseling and sanding because I wanted to get in all those nooks and crannies, make sure it was all good, because I was planning on epoxying this thing. As you can see, it had a major crack in it, and that was going to be hard to deal with, and I was actually kind of worried to work with this thing just because it had that big of a crack. But in the end, I was able to keep it safe until the epoxy, and then I filled the crack with epoxy and some rocks, just to make it look kind of cool. It's clear epoxy and some rocks. Here you can see me using the plywood nailing the plywood onto the to finish the pedestal legs. Nailed it. It took quite a bit of planning to make sure everything was going to be lined up straight, but in the end I was able to get it. I just took it slow and just measured everything out, which that was a big thing in woodworking. If you want to get things right, make sure you measure it out. Take things slow. That's what I've learned, and I've learned that the hard way in the past as well. But yeah, I just kept going here. Got a couple of coats of epoxy on. At this point, I was epoxying, and I got a couple coats of epoxy on the top. I also didn't just fill the crack with epoxy. I topped the thing with epoxy as well. And I also started painting the legs. I was just doing a black Raven paint. I use basically the same color of paint for all my projects, just because it's cheaper to buy something in bulk, and usually if it looks good with one project, it works good with the other and looks pretty good, And then so it did take quite a bit of epoxy, but in the end I got this thing done, and I had it on the market for 3 months for $120, and just I got no offers, nothing for it. And I think one of the major things was because I thought it actually looked pretty good. I thought the top looked pretty nice, actually. But in the end, I think the problem was that the legs didn't match, and people just didn't like the legs. Because later, about 4 months after having it on the market, I got a person asking me, they liked the top, but they didn't like the legs. Could I please change the legs? And this person was from 4 hours away, and they were willing to pay a lot extra and ship it out and stuff. So for delivery. So that's what I ended up doing, and I'm doing that right now. Actually, is I am building the legs for this thing. They wanted just more natural, so it's gonna be some willow branches and stumps, and that will look pretty nice actually once I'm done it. I'm just about done it, but now the sale price is $250, so I'm actually doubling what I would have sold it for by doing it custom like this. But also I do have to put in a bit more time, and I mean, it's alright. The pedestal legs, I was hoping and I thought it looked pretty nice. They were pretty stable too. Maybe people thought it was really wobbly or something, but it was pretty stable, but who knows, right? So that's why, but at least now we're gonna get a sale for it. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe and watch some of my other videos and my other builds.